Welcome to the December 18th, 2024 Delhi Trustee meeting. We will open the meeting as we normally do with the Pledge of Allegiance and also with a moment of silence. This week's moment of silence, unfortunately, is for somebody near and dear to us, Gary Schroeder, who passed away Saturday, December 14th. Gary served as Delhi Administrator from 2001 to 2012. Prior to that, he served on many boards in the Township, St. Dominic School, Delhi Skirt Game, Bailey Place, Women's Connection, Delhi Riverview Kiwanis, Delhi Junior High School PTA President, Delhi Business Association, Delhi Historical Society, and so on and so on. Gary leaves behind his wife, Kathy, 2 sons, Brian and Jeff, daughter-in-law, Dawn, 3 grandsons, Jacob, Luke, and Wes. His services will be on January 3rd. They will be at St. Dominic Church. They'll have visitation at Bittensturmer from 8 to 9:30, and the Mass is at 10 a.m. Gary, rest in peace, and thank you for all that you did for so many. Please rise. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, so we have approval of overtime, Mr. Luby.
We have our motion to approve the payment of overtime for pay periods ending November 26th and December 10th, 2024.
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to approve bills for payment.
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Report from the fiscal officer, please.
We have Resolution 2024-189, amending appropriations for expenses and declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, please?
Yes, we had to adjust various appropriations before the end of the year on our medical claims, a couple minor adjustments for some loan payments, and also some miscellaneous revenue adjustments for the year. So overall, nothing significant. And again, just more cleanup so we could pay some bills and take care of the revenue that came in for this year.
Okay. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes, resolution passes.
Significant transactions since our last meeting as far as deposits go. We did receive $184,000 for Hamilton County, and that was part of their unspent balance from the real estate reappraisal fund. That happens that they do every 6 years, money they didn't spend, and they distributed that amongst the county. And we received $57,000 for local government fund and gasoline tax, $20,000 for permissive motor vehicle license tax, $39,000 for cable franchise fees. As far as expenses go, we paid Highland $188,000 for our annual insurance premium renewal, and we also did have several loan or bond payments that were due for Delhi Town Square for the year. So we had 3 payments. One was to Huntington for $345,000, another one for $206,000, and one for $378,000. And we also did have a payment to Mills Fence Company for $56,000, and that was for the fence at the dog park. And our payroll on 12/5 was $280,000, and payroll on 12/19, $334,000. That's all I have.
All righty. Trustee correspondence, Trustee Seavey.
Well, I think on behalf of all of us, I would like to thank everyone who came out to the parade and to the event that we had here at the Delhi Event Center. I think a good time was had by all. And really thank you to all the volunteers that helped that day, DCPA, our own Delhi Police, and plus all of our people working here with the tables for the kids. You know, this was our first time out, and we were very pleased with the turnout, and hopefully everyone enjoyed a good time. So thank you, everyone, and we'll look forward to saying ho, ho, ho again next year.
All right, Trustee Davis?
No, with our review of the budget coming up, I will hold any comments at this time for timing.
All right, thank you. And just to piggyback what Trustee Seavey said, not only were our volunteers, the organizations you mentioned, but there were some businesses that volunteered here, like First Financial and some other businesses here. So we need to get it out there and thank all of our business partners for doing that. So thank you again, and we do hope you did it, and did attend, and we'll come up with some more projects to unite the township and bring us all together. So thank you. Okay, we do have a public hearing to review the appropriations budget for 2025. So do we have a motion, please?
Motion to open the public hearing for the appropriations budget for fiscal year 2025.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Does this recall roll call? Nope. Okay, thank you very much. All right. Who's going to lead this? Here we go.
Get it
Getting
set
there.
up here. Yeah, we're getting
Setting us
there.
up.
Okay. As has been our recent practice, we held budget work sessions to go over the budget line by line with your department heads. So it's been very thoroughly reviewed at this point. What is being presented tonight for approval is effectively the finalized version of that work session document. The input from the trustees has been updated, but there's been no significant changes from those line items. So myself and the department heads are going to go over their budgets, essentially hitting the highlights. So this will be a fairly quick overview of what we have for next year. Okay. So starting with general fund, significant changes this year have to do with salaries. We have a duplication of some positions, such as the assistant fiscal officer because of a transition in roles there. We also have some additional engineering costs associated with some improvements that we're looking at DTS, as well as some other essentially money set aside for potential smaller projects, small site improvements. So we've got $100,000 there. All told, our general fund, the main portion of our general fund is at $1,768,900 for this year. Town Hall grounds, this is primarily for 934 Neeb. We are keeping this budget wholly intact this year because we do expect to incur operations costs at that, but we also see ourselves offsetting this potentially with a possible lease out of that building. So that's still in the works. So this we're expecting to get more revenue on that site than what we're putting into it. That'll be built in. Other than that, we've had some minor increases to street lighting districts just because the cost of electric's going up. And then the other significant 1,000 account has to do with Delhi Town Square. Obviously, through 2025, as we build up the business, the revenue side of our DTS operations at the Athletic Club and Event Center, there are some costs associated with that the general fund is paying up front. Keep in mind that by month 14 or 15 of our DTS operations, we're expecting this facility to be fully operating in the black, and any of those revenues in excess of our operating expenses are coming back as revenue into general fund. So year over year, this is going to be a money-making opportunity to cover the cost of the original development of this site.
Mr. Miller, they always ask about the transfer out for $200,000. So could you just give us a brief overview that's zoning?
So yes, we have carved out zoning. I'm not sure what year prior, but that is a transfer out directly to our zoning fund to cover the operations of community development.
Right.
So, and that is also supplemented by the revenue, the fees that are taken in by community development through their operations. So.
Okay.
All right, let me see if I can. All right, so at this point, we're just going to go right down the list. So the next one I'm going to hand this off to is Public Works, starting with Motor Vehicle License Tax Fund.
Thank you, trustees. Let's see, this fund really only has one thing that comes out of that is insurance. And I'm going to run through the highlights on a lot of this stuff. Gasoline fund, we don't have a road contract this year, but we are doing some curb replacements. Just came in from some complaints for $75,000. Let's see, moving on to motor vehicle permissive. Building upgrades, which was a total of $10,000. And also our health insurance, just the increase was close to $100,000. I think that's township wide. Another major significant was out of Road and Bridge. We're adding a service worker. We've had to struggle with employees, just trying to keep them and people leaving and such. So we are going to add another service worker, and we did our research on that. Let's see. I know just our goal is not to, we might over budget on some things, but if you go through our accounts, we typically don't spend or max out each one, and all that extra money goes typically toward, like for 26, we'll have a road contract. Our balances are over $1 million, but we'll put roughly $800,000 toward our 2026 road project, if not more. So that's the goal, to maximize our paving. Anybody have any questions?
No? Any questions?
I think we went over everything, and the highlights are pretty minimal.
Yep.
All right.
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to police.
And it's all public record, too. Everybody wants to see, we've gone through it hour after hour after hour. You all go through it month after month through the year, but this is all public record. This is all not, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
spent a lot of time on it.
yeah, which we applaud for all the department heads, everyone, administrators, so.
Yep.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you. Whoa, sorry. So the annual budget for the police department is $6.9 million this year. It's an 8.5% increase from last year. And personnel costs attribute to just a little over 86% of that budget. Just to highlight a couple of accounts that are driving those increases. Salaries, we have a collective bargaining agreement with our employees that covers a 5% increase for 2025. Hospitalization and medical, this year we took a 30.8% increase, which equates to about $188,000. There's a minor increase in tax collection fees because of our new levy from a year ago. We did increase training slightly. Obviously, training is very important to our agency and our officers, so to make sure that they got the best training going and we're putting the best officer on the street. There is an increase for professional and technical services, which is a $16,000 carryover from this year to next year because of physicals were just done, and we won't be invoiced in time in order to pay that this year.
So that's a function of timing.
Correct.
Okay.
Small tools and equipment, just want to highlight something there, that we're buying a drying chamber for evidence. I will tell you that, if you go around to other agencies in the area, we've got a top-notch evidence processing unit, and I applaud you guys a lot for allowing us to do that. We have our equipment we need in order to process evidence. Uniforms, again, there's an increase there, primarily because there's a timing issue there with bullet-resistant vests that were ordered in October. Apparently the vendor didn't order them until last month, and we won't get the bill probably until January. So it's a carryover for that. And we do have a need to replace one of our unmarked vehicles next year, to replace a 2016 Ford Taurus that needs to be taken out of rotation. But as far as everything else goes, it's pretty much static. Any questions?
Mr. Miller, maybe it'd be best if you explain the fact that our hospitalization is going up in each one of their departments so that they understand that our plan increased, and we're going to hear that from each one of them, that their hospital costs went up.
Yep. We had some unfortunate claims at the very end of our claim period, which led to a pretty significant increase in medical costs, actually to the tune of, I want to say, 30.8%. Now, we were able to implement some mid and long-term strategies to help offset that. One of the things we did is we brought in a third-party administrator, EMS, to help us evaluate individual employees and help them pick alternative plans if possible. While the maximum cost of our plan is going to be at that 30.8%, we're expecting a lot of people to transition off our plan and have that immediate cost savings from that. But also the reduction in the number of claims that we have every year is going to have a year-over-year benefit for us. So, we have to budget and plan for the worst. So you are going to see that all of our departments are certainly taking that hit. As a matter of fact, the administration is even, the general fund is picking up some of that to cover any overages so that we aren't overburdening the levies in police and fire. We want them to be able to operate within, within the expected, revenue that they're generating each year. So that is going to be a cost issue across all of our departments.
I just thought it would be easier because each one of our department heads is going to be talking about the increase in their medical expenses, and it just understand that it's going to all departments. And we're doing everything we can to try to minimize the increase, but I think everyone's pretty much aware that healthcare is expensive. So,
Right.
yeah. And that's how you retain employees, is have good healthcare.
It's part of it. Okay. Anything else? Chief? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, who's up next? Roll fire.
Fire department.
Chief?
Thank you, trustees. 2025, the fire budget, total combined for both funds is going to be $8.5 million. The biggest impacts that we're going to have in terms of our increases are personnel through retirement costs, hospitalization, and training. Our biggest budget priorities are going to be professional development to maintain staffing and enhance our training, likely with 3 retirements, their officers, training folks, and hiring. So this budget does include the promotions, the hiring processes, and then unfortunately, when you lose that kind of experience, the priority has to be training. So the biggest increase, we're going from about $113,000 to $142,000 to cover training costs, because emergency runs don't stop while we're redeveloping our personnel. And so that's going to be a huge impact on this budget as well. But it's an enhanced and expanded training, to bring on more firefighters, more officers. No change in staffing. Again, this is a maintenance issue. We're keeping staffing as is and trying to do these changes, developments, and enhancements while still operating. So those are the kind of the challenges that we're dealing with. Other than that, no big draws, no big changes. We are looking, the board did sign an agreement for a ambulance remount. That would be out of the TIF fund, so that is kind of offsetting our operation as well. But unless you have any other questions about specifics, I know we covered everything in the budget hearing.
No? Thank you. Thank you. All right, moving on. I think I saw Parks Smith.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
That is a
honey.
1.5% increase from last year, so I didn't mention that.
To still give the same great level of service. There you go. Thank you. All right, Park, Mr. Soupy.
All right, so for the parks budget, as we went over, same thing, medical has gone up, the biggest budget. We are working at a 1.253 this year, the budget number. It did go up a little bit. Some of the line items that it did were the medical, some salary, A couple of the repairs and maintenance on vehicles and equipment, because we are keeping those longer, so the increase in the equipment cost has gone up a little bit to cover that cost. Minimal increases on contracted services, which we just estimated through the year, that are increasing little by little. The biggest difference, which it's actually down from last year, is the improvement of sites. We are carrying over money for the dog park amenities, pickleball amenities, and like netting and such for that kind of work. That is we're going to concentrate on the pickleball amenities, fixing everything, dog park for this year for the jobs we're working on. So that'll be carried over. So it wasn't spent in the last year's budget as well. So it'll carry over around 90,000. So, and we are looking this year, we are struggling keeping the ice machine running at the senior center, so I added that in there for a new ice machine. That's a bigger increase at the end of it too, which is it's about $2,500 more, so.
Okay.
So if there's any other questions, let me know on that.
No, we're all good? Okay, no, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate. All right. Zoning, we're moving right along. Is that the next one? Yep, zoning fund.
All right, zoning. Zoning. All right, as I said, zoning is kind of a carve-out of our general fund, but we also receive revenue from permits and fees. Tony, did you want to talk about anything on this first, or do you want me to just run with it?
If you want to run with it, Skylar, I haven't had a chance
Okay.
to review it or haven't seen it yet.
So one thing you're going to see, there is a fairly significant reduction in this fund due to, again, we had an increase in the general fund because we moved one of those administrative staff positions into the 1,000 general fund, moving it out of here. So you're going to see roughly a little over $100,000 decrease in salaries. Otherwise, this is a fairly lean and mean department. We have 3 staff members. We purchased a new staff vehicle for them last year. We do have one in the shop this year, so we do have some additional costs associated with repairs. But otherwise, we are moving right along with our community development efforts. So total cost of this budget, $327,000.
Okay, Skylar, I have one question because we transferred out less than 327,000. So how are we picking up the additional?
Again, there's revenues and fees associated with that. There is also some there's some carryover in this fund year to year. The transfer out is an estimate, so we may have to adjust that as we go.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I believe the year prior, we did an adjustment on that as well. So that's kind of our standard starting point.
Okay, all right.
And sometimes we do spend, we do budget worst-case scenario as well. So we may not spend as much as what's budgeted.
Yep. Perfect example of this is $12,000 for compensation of boards and commissions. That's operating on the assumption that both boards are meeting every month.
All right, right.
So we're not going to spend all this.
Well, from what we transferred out, we don't have it in anyway.
Yeah. All right, and we should be able to move right along into TIF. So what we have next? Oh,
We're going to TIF?
well, let's see, we already talked about that. There we go.
There we go.
All right. During our work sessions, I always like to talk about TIF in terms of our, our multi-year roadmap, which I don't tend to have in here. We're going to be trying to take it a little easier on TIF this year. Obviously, we're trying to start our recovery, if you will, of these revenues from, the initial build-out of Delhi Town Square. We had a number of bonds come off in 2024 that we won't be paying this year, but we are picking up some additional debt from DTS. We have, as far as our departments, typical capital would be, the 3 cruisers for police department as well as their flock cameras. Fire department has, planned payments of fire apparatus, I believe the Quint and are those squads, Chief? Yep. So we do have some planned payments there. Parks and Public Works are taking it easy on us this year, so no payments out. Although we will be teeing up $500,000 in road projects next year in 2026, and we'll have to evaluate if there's any need for TIF capital for parks in coming years. Administration, we do have a $35,000 payment to replace some aged out and non-functional HVAC equipment over at 934. Again, working under the assumption that we'll be leasing that property out. The other thing I'll say is we've also seen a significant revenue increase in TIF. For better or worse, we have seen a increase in property values, therefore additional tax dollars are coming in. So we've actually jumped from 2023 receiving in revenue approximately $5.88 million. In 24, it's actually risen to 6.55. So pretty significant increase year over year.
Yep.
So, of course, that also means we'll be paying out additional to our school partners. So they will continue to be made whole through our TIF program. With that being said, we have a total net expenditures for 2025 to be $6.5 million, which is down from 8.2 last year. All right.
Very good.
Any questions on TIF?
I did have an opportunity to speak with, well, not speak with, but text last night with Chief Campbell, because there is some question that we may be looking at some repairs due on the Rapid Run station. And just, we haven't evaluated what it is yet or how much it's going to be, but I think at budget time, we need to say, heads up, let's be aware that this is a possibility. And, I mean, the station is what, 20 or 25 years old?
It's 24 years old.
24.
Are these from Oak
Almost
Hills?
25.
Is
The
this
gift
coming
that
from
was-
Oak Hills?
That was the gift that started giving from the first year.
No, that was 30, the 33.
Yeah, very great.
Oh, which one are you talking about?
This is Rapid Run.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
No,
I was thinking-
this one's behaved really well through a lot.
boy.
So, I mean, 25 years, and I think we could be looking at some building repair. And that's probably in conjunction with the Oak Hills District Office. So there'll be some coordinating there, but just heads up, it's probably going to happen this year.
Okay.
I know it's been a past practice of the board to keep a healthy reserve in TIF. We've had to make some strategic decisions to go below that threshold. Just to kind of get through this project. 2026 is kind of our make or break year. That's kind of the low point. We are keeping a healthy reserve over $1 million, but I know that's half of our most optimistic goal of $2 million. So we can certainly work with Chief if we have emergency issues, and we can talk about needed TIF expenditures in 2025. Although we haven't identified those yet, that's certainly something we can talk about mid-year. Or we can start talking about a more structured plan for the years to come after that.
Okay.
I'm just going on the record. I am not aware of anything of significance as far as that facility.
Right.
So,
And it was not given to me in detail. It was given to me as a heads up. So,
heads them up my way.
Would been nice if they told you, Chief.
But yes, we certainly understand that, As buildings age, their, maintenance costs are potentially going to go up. We're seeing that over at 934 with, $35,000 in HVAC. So,
There you go.
we'll evaluate our facilities and operate accordingly.
Well, and I think overall, the 30s has been a pretty stable building. We haven't had to really do a lot of repair inside the 30s. So, I mean, if this is just a maintenance,
Sure.
we'll do it. That's all.
The only thing of significance I really want to talk about is, we do have structured bond payments. So we do have individual funds set up for those. You can see we have a 2021 series of bond funds, and then we have the 2024. Let's see. We are still holding approximately $1 million in direct bond money as an expenditure. A good portion of this we're holding on to under the assumption that we'll need some TI money to build out the leasable space. Okay, so about, somewhere between 500,000 and 700,000 of that, depending on what, a potential lease agreement would look like. We may not need it at all. It just depends on the structure of the lease agreement. We are actively talking to a couple of interested parties right now. So definitely something that we want to have as a possible expenditure in 2025.
So do you want us to do a public service announcement and say we have space for rent?
You, by all means, yeah. Let's see.
We have space for rent.
Yeah. No, but we do have some.
That's usually Mr. Luby's thing.
That's right. In all seriousness, we do have some very good potential tenants for that space.
Yeah, we do.
Certainly not time to announce them yet. We don't have proposals in place. Don't want to scare anybody away. Maybe we'll start a turf war. We'll see. But yeah, I think there's some good things coming our way. Yep.
Would be.
All right. All told, our total budget for 2025 is tipping the scales at $34,176,579.43. Again, it looks like a big number, but we're appropriating at the highest possible. But you have an impressive staff of department heads that are very fiscally minded. They do not spend 100% of their appropriations. But this is the cost of local governance.
And keep in mind that some of this money is double counted. For example, the TIF fund includes the payments that are being transferred out to use to make the debt payments, and then you see the debt payments in there as well. Right. So there's probably another at least $2 million in there that is double counted.
Yep.
In there twice.
No, that's a great point.
Yeah, good to know.
So.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Trustees, any questions? Like you said, we've gone through these before. We've had the numbers in front of us. We've asked a lot of questions prior to this meeting. And like Trustee Davis said, this is public record. If you have any questions, please call the office, and they'll be able to help you out. Okay? Not that we encourage a bunch of public record requests, but it is at your disposal. Okay. So, with that being said, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the appropriations budget hearing for 2025.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Public hearing closed. All right, now we'll start going into our department reports, and first up is Fire Department. Okay, Chief.
We have Resolution 2024-190, updating and amending the collective bargaining agreement, Article 21, wages with the Delhi Firefighters Association, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Yes, trustees, I'd put a recommendation before the board to consider a 3.5% increase commensurate with other contractual employees on the department. So that would be part-time staff who have all been serving in excess of 14 months at the same rate since the last time they were increased. So this is a little bit over a year that they've been at this rate and requesting a 3.5 commensurate with other contractual employees on the department.
Okay, so these are our part-time firefighters.
These are our
that we
part-time
have
firefighters.
That do not fall underneath, just, for the public, that do not fall under your contractual.
They exceed the contractual, so there's really no contract to go against. So this is a recommendation to the board to see they're taken care of.
Yes, okay. Any questions, trustee?
Yeah, I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
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 Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes. All right. Thank you. Thank you for all of our part-timers hanging in there with us. 14 months, okay.
I would like to update the board on the fire at Kentucky Fried Chicken on Sunday evening. The structure itself was occupied with employees. They were working in the kitchen area. It was not operational. They were closed for business. It seems to be the overwhelming indication is that they were alerted to the fire by basically standing in a certain area and seeing fire in the dining room, but they were working in the back, so there was a little bit of a delay in notification. I think we got phone calls suggesting that people outside were seeing it at the same time as people inside. They quickly evacuated. I think there was somebody with DoorDash that was coming up to the facility at the same time, so rather quickly. Alarm came in at 9:31. First unit responded and showed up on the scene in 3 minutes. Immediately sized up the situation, did their radio report, and began extinguishment. Fire was under control in less than a half hour. It was ultimately brought under control with 9 apparatus, 21 individuals. It did get $300,000 in damage. It's about $750,000 property. But early indications, I know Chief Helms met with the insurance company. One thing that they did mention is there's an early indication that for insurance purposes, they're pursuing remodeling. So that's what you have a fire department for. Essentially, it's probably more economical to go the route, and they're gonna apply for permitting to rebuild it, not tear it down and start over. So early indications that we've salvaged enough of the facility to allow that to happen.
Okay, good.
My hat's off to all crews. They worked really quickly. Certainly, it's right there on the pike. It's in front of a lot of people. You kind of see it, and this is what they train for, quick extinguishment and mitigation of these emergencies. So,
Is the cause still under investigation, did you say, or?
so the cause is, as you can see in the picture, in that main dining room. I think most people will assume a restaurant's going to be something related to the kitchen. This is not the case. It did go under a remodel 4 years ago. They did some changes to it, and it's likely associated with that electric in that dining room and lighting and some of the decor that they had in there. So nothing suspicious, just freak accident, and certainly early discovery, early suppression. We've got a chance to have the business back up on the pike soon.
That picture's pretty awesome, though.
Yep.
And that
Yeah.
looks,
We were overwhelmed with the number of people that had pictures, videos. I mean, it's a happening place, that corner, so. We did have a fire that following day. It was just a small trash can fire, nothing to report to the board in terms of any significant damage, but yeah, we usually don't get twofers. So fortunately, I will, just as a public safety reminder, have individuals make sure when you're cooking, utilizing your stove, please attend what you're cooking. It really, things can get away from you if you're not physically in the room or attending to it. But other than that, wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and be safe.
Thank you, same to you. All right, Parks and Recreation.
We have a motion to accept the voluntary resignation of seasonal Parks and Recreation worker Andrew J. Kaplinger, effective November 28th, 2024.
so moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of seasonal Parks and Recreation worker Michael J. Klepfer, effective November 10th, 2024.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes?
Yes, motion passes.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of seasonal Parks and Recreation worker Louis J. Nye Jr., effective November 11th, 2024.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes?
Yes, motion passes. So these are, again, just for the general public, these are our seasonal workers, and hopefully they come back the following year.
Yeah, it's just standard policy for us to
Yes.
get a resignation and rehire next year. Hopefully, majority of them come back. If not, we'll go put it back out and hire more, so.
Thank you again, because I know these are returned, they've returned a couple of times, and thank you for hanging in there with us and coming back every year.
For sure.
Department update, Mr. Supi?
Yeah, just a couple updates. Like I said, the standards for the seasonals. And then another process, we are ordering, I just got done ordering all the amenities for the dog park, which is agility stations, water fountains, structures. So that'll be coming in after the new year. We planned on putting those in after winter breaks and springtime. We'll have everything pretty much set. You got to put an entranceway in for the main part. It's all working out. The water lines are hooked up to our barns right now to access that area, but until the water fountains are there and everything's set up, we won't hook any of that up until time. There's no reason to get it out in the weather until it's ready to operate. So we are doing some end-of-year budget, or end-of-year ordering for our stock items, chalk inventory for ball fields, like that. So we do stock our inventory at the end of this year for the following years. We did have the crews busy at the end of the year. We do shut down the senior center because they're on break in the lodge. We shut it down. We do our end-of-year maintenance, so as they are touching up painting, cleaning, they're going to wax the floors, all the regular basic stuff, and it does give us time to get everything updated for the following year to come up. So, and I'd like to say thanks to the PD also. We had a little incident at the skate park. We had some graffiti action, so they did catch them right away, and we're working on cleanup measures right now because our water's all shut off. We have to hire out for a cleanup measure now, so that's in the works right now. So,
Could make it an ice skating park.
yeah, yes.
It keeps getting it's cold.
Yeah, hats off to the PD. They were really quick and caught everything needed, so.
Do
Yeah.
we seek restitution?
Yeah, we will. Generally, I'll work with the police, and we'll see what the cost factors are, since we're having to hire it out, and then we'll potentially just do a ban from the park for 6 months to a year, usually, so,
Not life.
yeah.
Juvenile or adult?
This one, I think it is a juvenile, yes.
Juvenile?
Yeah. Yeah, so, yep, it's in the works, so if there's any other questions, let me know.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. All right, Police Department. Just general update, Chief?
Sure. So we did conduct our annual Santa Parade this year. This year was our turn. There was a bunch of people out in their yards as we drove by and waved, and this year we handed out some Christmas-oriented stress balls, so people really enjoyed them. Just wanted to plug out stop signs at Bandana and Panther. We did get some complaints or some questions about why they're there. We did pass a resolution, I want to say, back in October. They were strictly installed because of sight distance issues where people can't see come out of the driveway, and obviously you can't use stop signs to control speed. So I just wanted to just remind everybody that they're there for a purpose to obviously make sure people are safe.
And that was initiated by residents?
Correct.
Okay, just,
Yeah.
everybody knows that. We don't go around going, oh, we need a stop sign here, we need one. It was
Mr.
residents.
Rippinger and I have been back at that location several times, and we just felt as though it was time to put them up to keep everybody safe. Just a real quick, brief update on flock cameras. I know it was mentioned earlier about in the TIF budget, but year-to-date for 2024, we've made 32 arrests, recovered 19 stolen cars, almost $230,000 in property, and solved multiple hit-skip crashes. We will be participating in the annual Operation Santa Sleigh up in Clifton, where we drive a bunch of police cars drive around the hospitals for people that are unfortunately in the hospitals, and hopefully it brightens their spirits up a little bit. So, and other than that, I just would also like to wish everybody Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, unless you have any questions.
Good.
Great, no, just a statement. Great job catching those two dogs that were Bonaventure coming up from down in the city. And I only say that because it was quite the topic on social media, these two dogs that had, I guess, attacked other animals and such, and it's apparently been going on for several weeks. So it hit pretty good. You guys got involved, you got the 2 dogs, and the investigation continues. So I think there's a lot of relief in the community, especially back Mount Verno Estates. That's awesome for that. The flock cameras is fantastic for those of you that were sleeping when the chief just mentioned that at home. That's incredible, the cameras that you see, what they were able to do. 32 arrests in just this year. 19 stolen cars were recovered, and $232,000 in brought back, saved, which is incredible. But even more importantly, the auto accidents that have been resolved from these wonderful people who decide to cause an accident and take off. And the best thing is about technology, and it's only just begun, is there's nothing you're doing out on the streets of Delhi that is not on camera somewhere. So thank you for that. Thank you for the parks also, for those that decided to do their creative artistry up in the park, using the cameras to try and catch them. These are great tools. They're not to sit there and do an I spy on anybody, but when something goes down, it's nice having that point of reference to go back to and have it in film, print, in every possible way you want. So that's awesome, and I thank the board for that also, for agreeing to that, and for the flock cameras. And you know, that was somewhat of a leap of faith. We knew it was an investment, but we're doing it. Green Township's doing it. I don't know where the city of Cincinnati is on it. Who knows? They're probably spending all their money on Lower Delhi at this point still, but to be determined, I guess. So, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Right, great. All right, Public Works. Mr.
Thank you.
Ripperger.
Let's see, I'm really excited that Greenwell, the east side of Greenwell, got paved in December, which we didn't expect. So that was good news. We did receive quite a bit of complaints of the rough roadway there. That was a Duke project and a Hamilton County maintained road, but they did get it done, and I drove it a few times. It rides good. Yeah, it's nice. Other than that, I'm not going to jinx myself on mentioning anything about snow. So we got a Facebook release, you know, if it does get active at some point this year. So.
All right, but we have a supply.
Yes.
Good to know. Uh-oh.
I don't want to say
Well,
too
I remember
much.
the years where it's like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive, we
Yeah.
can't afford it, you know, and we were going to limp along, so.
Yeah, the busier it is, it does seem to be, as years go on, it seems more difficult to get it when you need it, that's for sure.
Nice to get it when we need it, okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, administration, we have a resignation.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of Joyanne Pearson, effective 12/2/2024.
So moved?
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion carries.
Resolution 2024-191, making appropriations of funds for expenditures during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Miller?
Oh, I think we've talked about this resolution quite a bit. Again, this is just the final piece of the process. We started with our work sessions. We had our public hearing tonight on the budget. It's been properly advertised. This is the final policy document that gets our budget in place for 2025.
Sounds great.
All right. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-192, establishing pay rates during fiscal year 2025, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
It's that time of year again. It's our common practice is in concert with the approval of the budget that we evaluate and approve employee raises. So these are the reviewed and recommended pay increases for our employees from our department heads and administrator.
All right. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-193, authorizing the Township Administrator to spend greater than $10,000 on behalf of the Township for fiscal year 2025, declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
This resolution is a little proactive. So we typically do not do a 2025 spending authority until the first meeting of the new year. What we found last year is that we have a budget, but we don't have any spending authorities for significant, these are our common expenses every year. Again, this is utilities, this is our, this is our lease agreements with our copiers. So our department heads asked that we get this out a little early just to create a smooth transition into the next year. Again, the spending authority isn't effective until the 2025 budget, so January 1. But this allows us to hit the afterburners and kick the wheels off the ground.
Okay.
So
I moved to-
there may be a supplemental spending authority, another omnibus next year, but this gets the wheels off the ground.
All right. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-194, supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial America 250 OH.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? Mr. Miller?
This is a fun resolution. As we know, we are coming up on the 250th anniversary of our country in 2026. So planning has already started in a lot of different areas. This is part of that initiative. This resolution allows us, we've already applied, but we have to do a resolution essentially ratifying that. But this makes us an America 250 community and makes us eligible for a $5,000 grant that would go towards planning and implementing any celebratory activities that we do. We started discussing different activities that we can do and what needs to be implemented over the next year or so with our local Delhi Historical Society back in October. We'll need to create a committee to start working on this. There's a lot of planning ahead, but also a lot of exciting opportunities with this. So this is step one.
All right.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes. Your report, please, Mr. Miller.
It has been a busy month for us. So I think we had a very successful parade back on December 7th, followed by a wonderful celebration here at Delhi Town Square in the Event Center. It was elbow to elbow up here. It was hard to move around. Hot chocolate for everybody. The carolers were wonderful. I think it was a good omen for the different types of community activities that we can have here, and look forward to the different events in years to come. So thank you for everybody that participated in the parade and made that a huge success, and thank you to everyone that helped get that celebration at DTS off the ground as well. So wonderful. We are wrapping up the actual construction phase of DTS still. I think we'll be making a final payment to Turner in December. There's still warranty work to be done, but I think we're finally at the point where we're resolving this lighting issue. We do have also the closeout of the lawn bar, which was a separate project. At this point, that may go into January, so we'll have to see where that falls. If it does, we may have to adjust that available bond money, because the $1 million that we had in our budget was anticipating making those payments in December. It just means that we'll have to amend it based on the funds that we have available for that. Nothing too big or scary there. Aside from that, there's a lot of closeout for administration. We still have a lot split to do, TIF paperwork to get done on this site, but everything's coming together. And then finally, we're still working with ODNR. There is a $750,000 grant that is earmarked for DTS coming back to the township that is currently anticipated to be finalized in January of 2025. So I'll be happy to announce, hopefully in January, that we've received that check.
It's here.
And that'll go into general fund.
Great. Great.
That's all I have unless there's any questions.
Nope.
All right.
Okay, so we'll move right into community development.
We have a motion to reappoint Jennifer Vader to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a 5-year term ending December 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yes. Yep. I mean, 5 years is a long time if you think about it, and to stay committed to us. So, and she's a great board member, so we're very lucky to have her. Okay, resolution.
Resolution 2024-195, entering into contract for services with Miamitown Auto Parts and Recycling, Inc. for removal, storage, and disposal of junk motor vehicles from the township, per Ohio Revised Code Section 505.871, authorizing the township administrator to execute the contract, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
Thank you, trustees. Yeah, so the first two resolutions that Mr. Luby is going to read are just some end-of-the-year housekeeping things, just to renew our contracts with our vendors. One is our nuisance vendor, and one is Miamitown Auto Parts for removal of junk motor vehicles when necessary.
Okay.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-196, entering into a contract for services with Jim Canoli, DBA JEK Construction LLC, to perform nuisance abatement services and to repair or secure dangerous structures, authorizing the township administrator to execute the contract, declaring an emergency, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Yeah, just our nuisance contract, just renew its contract.
Okay. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-197, providing for the removal of a junk motor vehicle at 4800 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, and do we have pictures? Yep. There we go. Mr. Roach?
Yep, so the next 6 resolutions that Mr. Luby is going to read are properties that are still in violation as of inspections this morning. So we're just requesting your board declare them nuisances so we can continue on with our nuisance procedures. This is the purple building, if you recall, where we started our parade route.
Okay.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
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 Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-198, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 266 Jupiter Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see what you're looking at. There's a refrigerator there, a hot water heater, and a furnace.
Okay.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-199, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 5789 Juvine Way, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Yep, just a fallen trees in the yard. We've had contact with the occupant there, so hopefully we'll get some voluntary compliance.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-200, providing for the removal of a junk motor vehicle at 306 Anderson Ferry Road, declaring an emergency and dispensing with second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
It speaks for itself, it's inoperable.
Do we really want to call a C5 a junk motor vehicle?
We can use the term inoperable junk.
Okay,
or
all right, that's
inoperable
better.
vehicle.
You okay?
Yep, it just clicked.
Okay.
I move to dispense
Wait a
with the
minute,
second.
excuse me. No, this is not to be disputed. We're just putting it that it's being recorded, and if you want to, then you can do it the proper way. Okay, thanks.
All right, are we back to?
Yes, we're good.
Okay. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
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 Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-201, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 306 Anderson Ferry Road, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Roach?
Yeah, it's just some accumulated debris on the front porch there.
Okay.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-202, certifying violation abatement expenses at 582 Greenwell Avenue to the county auditor for assessment, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Yeah, it's just some debris left over from obviously the fire that was there, and Chief Campbell can probably tell you when the fire was. Local owner of the property did just sell, and they're doing an extensive clean out there now. So the property hasn't transferred yet, but it has sold on the sold pending on the MLS. So probably, I don't know if somebody's going to rehab it, tear it down, or what, but.
Okay, so we're abating it because we did do some cleanup.
Yeah, so yes, so there was some cleanup there, Trustee Starch. You can see there was
Chairs and all that?
chairs,
Yeah.
and there was a lot more household items on the rear of the building that we weren't aware of. So it was a pretty extensive cleanup.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw trucks over there today.
Yeah, there's
There's somebody doing some stuff there.
Oh, I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes. Do we have any department updates?
Not at this time, unless you would have questions for us.
We're all good. Okay, very good. Nobody has signed in for public comment, so we have an announcement of community events, Mr. Miller.
Yes, ma'am. Christmas tree recycling is December 30th through January 12th at Floral Paradise Gardens. That's 461 Greenwell. Christmas trees will be shredded and used as mulch throughout our parks. Please remove all ornaments, tinsel, and lights before drop-off. Delhi Skirt Game will have Delhi Skirt Game Chili Cook-Off Sunday, January 19th. This is at Maloney's Pub. Have your chili ready to serve by 12:35 p.m. No entry fee, $10 to taste, $5 for kids, 10 and under. Fan favorite vote, first, second, and third place awards. Split the pot and basket raffles will be there as well.
Who will take home that slide again?
Fine.
Who
I'm
will
sorry?
take home the title of,
Take home, well, let's see where we at.
They have first place is 100.
at the bottom?
Oh.
Have all chili in place.
Who will take
Who
home
will
the-
take on title? Oh.
Oh,
Da-
who
Daly-
will take the
Daly's-
title of
Daly's-
Delhi Chili Champion?
Daly's Chili Champion? Daly.
Oh, okay, I see it.
We'll have to talk to
Yep.
Skirt Game.
We'll have to talk to the Skirt Game about that. I don't think we made that.
They didn't have the spelling guru look at it, did they?
That's right.
One day they'll invent something called spell check, and you'll just hit a button and it'll check your whole document.
What a novel idea.
Or AI or any of that.
Just kidding, just kidding.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
With no further business to come before the board, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. We want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, or Happy Kwanzaa, to whatever is your preference. Stay safe, and everybody be blessed. Our next meeting is January 8th, 6 o'clock, same place.